Allison Berger here with BeTerrific. Now, you can't come to a Beatles car show without being with a man with some Beatles, right, Cliff?
That's me. I got plenty of them. I got two of them right here.
We're surrounded, but I want to talk about this one first because you said this one has a story, and I want to know the story.
Well, this one here started off, it's a 59 VW, and we all know as we're going through school, we're going through college, eventually, you know, you got to quit borrowing mom and dad's car. You're going to have to get your own. And I'm proud to say that this was my very first car, and I still have it after all these years. Of course, it didn't look like this when I was going to school. It was pretty rough, but rather than part with it, because we'd been through so much together, that I decided to redo it the way you see it right now.
So what's your favorite memory growing up with your first car?
The fondest thing I had with this thing was the fun part about it. Every time I went over a bump, the radio played. And every time I went over another bump, it turned off. So there was one thing I always remembered about this car, and it was kind of a bonding thing. But
I'm sure that doesn't happen anymore.
No, but as a pro drag racer too, that you know, once you get something, a combination that works, you stick with it. So, but there's not too many of us. I belong to a handful that still say they still have the first car that they ever owned. We're kind of a small breed, but there are a few of us.
Yeah, that's a really special thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what's her name?
Actually, this was named, when we painted it. And my partner and I, when we painted it, I called him up, and he had already painted it. He couldn't wait till I got there. But I said, how does it look? He says, purple. I says, well, I mean, but how did it come out? He goes, it's purple. I says, well, can you give me a little more description? He said, it looks like a grape. So we got there, and we were kind of sitting around after we built the car, kind of deliberating in the shop, and then somebody got the wild idea of Goofy Grape, which back in the 60s, if you all know anything about Kool-Aid, there was a flavor named that color. And it was Goofy Grape, so that's how this car ended up with the name.
Tell me a little bit more about what you have going on here. You have a lot of gizmos and gadgets going on.
Yeah, this is what they call like a streetable Baja Bug, or, you know, it really doesn't see that much dirt, but it's got the looks and the features of it. The nice thing about the car, again, it's a 59. It's a lighter car. It was a Baja when I got it. The person that did do the Baja kit on it looked like they did it with an axe. So it took a while to straighten a few things out, but we spent 14 months redoing this car.
Wow. Now, is that usually a longer time than usual, or is that pretty average?
That, depending on if you're somebody that really works every waking hour on it, and me and my partner was helping me, we were putting 4 days a week solid on it.
Wow.
For 14 months, and to turn it into what it is now.
It's a beauty.
So
a little goofy, but a beauty.
Yeah, it's a little goofy, but you know, it's still a head turner.
That's for sure. Tell me about what we have over here.
This is a 55 VW sedan. It was converted and changed over for drag racing back in 1986, which it was naturally aspirated. It didn't have any assist on the engine. At the time, the car was running mid-11s, about 112 miles an hour in the quarter mile. 1990, we revamped it to go to the turbocharged setup, so that increased the horsepower and everything. The car now runs mid-9s at over 143 miles an hour in the quarter mile, and usually 3 gears on the wheelie bars on the back. It will pull the front end up hard. But originally it was a 1955 sedan. Yeah, I dragged it home on 3 flat tires, no motor, headlight coming out of it, half the windows missing. And all the guys in the shop kind of looked at me and said, "You're going to do what with this thing?" I said, "I'm going racing." And it took about 5.5 months only, and to get it to where you see it now, turnkey, ready to go.
Well, I bet it sounds really good.
Yeah, the turbo motor, I've heard a lot of people tell me it sounds like an angry Indy car. So, because the turbocharger does muffle the sound. The name on the side of the car, a lot of people have asked me how I came up with Invader. Well, I was always the one in the shop that when they were scratching their head and they needed to pull a little string here or there. And thanks. But we had to pull a string or something, or pull what we call a hat trick. We had to come up with, there was no way of doing something. They'd always come to me. So I got the nickname Innovator.
I like it.
And so somebody, said, well, that's what we can name the car. Then everybody was going, well, Innovator don't sound right. And some guy said, how about Invader? So we stuck with Invader, and it turned out to be quite a deal. And I've talked to a few people that when I was racing the VW circuit that I haven't seen like in 20 years, and they're coming up to me and they still see that I still have the car, and they still see it's race ready.
That's a really nice feeling.
Yeah.
So can we hear how this baby sounds?
Yeah, we can start it up.
All right, let's
Okay,
do
give me a
it.
second.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we woke everyone up in case anyone was napping before dinner tonight.
That is the sound of a 500 horsepower Volkswagen engine.
That sounds great. Wow. So you really this is a racing car. There's only one seat. Wow, this is cool. But you have this Kerry and Cliff. So who gets to be up here?
My partner, Kerry, he founded Desert Dynamics. If you notice, that's on here too. Him and I worked together. I took care of the speed section, automotive, street strip, off-road, and marine. Also, we do a lot of fuel systems for offshore. He did a lot of industrial design engineering. When he passed away, the Desert Dynamics was grandfathered over to me. I couldn't bear myself to just put it under Invader Racing, so I kept Desert Dynamics on the car in his memory.
Oh, that's very nice. You're a good guy, Cliff.
I try.
Don't we all?
A lot of people ask me what actually got me into drag racing, and that was one of the hardest questions I had to answer. So my response was I says, well, it was the only thing left to do after the mule died.
All right, Cliff. Well, thanks so much for showing me your Beetles.
All right, thank you.
All right, stay tuned, everyone. I'm going to go find Michael and see what else is going on downtown.